Good evening. People in the Handsworth area of Birmingham have criticised policing during last month's riots. They say police were unprepared for the riots and were slow to respond when called. It's part of evidence to a committee of MPs investigating last month's disturbances. Well, West Midlands police have defended their tactics and say they'll be presenting the findings of their own review into policing the riots on Thursday. More now from Giles Latcham.
Back to its vibrant and bustling self, Handsworth's famous Soho Road shows few of the scars. But rioting here was fierce, looting sustained, and there are plenty who feel the police could have handled it better.
They were outnumbered, outcoached. They were caught out.
Half of the police looked like they were scared.
You can't just suddenly go, vump, there's a load of coppers to deal with it. You know what I mean? You just don't know where it's going to break out, do you?
A fortnight ago at a conference chaired by the Labour MP Khalid Mahmood, traders, residents and community representatives discussed the riots. Their views have now been published, and for the police they make uncomfortable reading. This paper has been presented to MPs today on the Home Affairs Select Committee. It pulls no punches. The riots caught police on the hop, it says. It claims that the police failed to engage with members of the local community, leaving them by and large to defend their own premises. Most seriously, it claims officers should have been at the nearby incident in Winston Green in which 3 men died. The police, it said, failed to do the job they were paid to do.
Unfortunately, the police didn't have enough resources. They had insufficient resources to deal with the issues in the city centre themselves. And when the riot-trained police were asked to divert their attention to Soho Road, Handsworth, it already kicked off. A lot of the damage had already been done before they arrived. There was insufficient riot-trained police officers working in Birmingham that particular night.
West Midlands Police say they can't comment ahead of their own review of the way they handled the riots. The government concedes lessons must be learned.
And that's why the Home Secretary has asked Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary to look at precisely those factors so that lessons can be learnt, can be applied in the future to deal with disorder, to deal with troubles in communities.
Amid the claims and counterclaims, the debate about the handling of these riots will further fuel the debate on police cuts. Giles Latcham, BBC Midlands Today, Handsworth.
Well, hundreds of people have been at a public debate about the riots at Birmingham Town Hall tonight, hosted by BBC Radio 4's Today programme. Our reporter Susanna Mendonça is there too. So, Susanna, what were the key issues?
Well, the 3 key areas that it focused on were policing, intervention and whether there'd been a moral collapse in society. Now, on policing, the Chief Constable of West Midlands Police, Chris Sim, was here. He came under a lot of criticism from people over the speed at which West Midlands Police dealt with those riots, and he said that his policing tactics were right. He made a very interesting point that he thought that it was down to the police and not individuals to take it upon themselves to protect their property. Of course, that's very controversial here in Birmingham because 3 people died doing that very thing. Now, the other area of criticism was around the toughness of some of the sentences handed down to young people, and also people were critical of David Cameron's assessment that it was a broken society that had led to these riots, and they turned the tables, suggesting it was actually a dysfunctional politics and politicians who'd set a bad example. So a very lively debate here in Birmingham.
Indeed. Thanks very much indeed, Susanna. Well, there will be full reaction and coverage on Phil Upton at breakfast on BBC WM. That's from 6:30 tomorrow morning. In other news, the world